So this is just a short instructional video on how to reverse the clutch shoes on a HPI Baja or most 5th scale 2-stroke RCs really. So the first step is to remove the clutch, which means taking off all this stuff. And you're going to need like a piston stopper, like what I've got here. That way you can put torque on these bolts and snap them loose. Without the piston stopper, the engine's just going to turn over whenever you try and undo it. I guess you could sort of find another way, like jamming something in there to stop the clutch from rotating, but the piston stop was about £7, so I thought it was worth doing. So let's just get these out. And there we go. So the basic idea of it is quite simple. You see you have these arrows. The clutch goes in on the engine like this, and the engine makes the clutch rotate counterclockwise. And in doing so, when it reaches the right RPM, which for this clutch is around 8,000 RPM, it's dictated entirely by the spring, by the way, like the spring tension. Anyway, when it hits that RPM, the trailing edge of the shoes sort of like expands, and then it slips until it makes full contact with the inside of here, the clutch bell, and that translates to power to the wheels. Well, the problem with that is, because it's the trailing edge which makes contact first, there is quite a lot of slippage before it fully grips on there, which makes the clutch wear out quicker. So all you do is you rotate the clutch, so now when it does engage, it's still going counterclockwise, but if you see here, this bit is going to pop out first, and vice versa with this bit here. So the tips of the pads make contact first, and that's going to make it bite very quickly onto the clutch bell. So you'll get like instant torque essentially. Admittedly, that will add some wear to the other parts of the drivetrain, because you're going from a standstill to like shooting off the line a bit more forcefully, but it's worth doing. So yeah, it will grip quicker, and therefore the clutch will last a much longer time. The issue is you can't just flip it and put it back on, because that spring is on the wrong side. So you have to flip it and then put the spring on the right side. And to do that, I'm just going to find something suitable to sort of like pop those ends out. So I'll do that off camera and tell you how I did it once I've found a solution. So I've done it, and it was really easy, to be fair. So it was more or less like this, and all I did was get a screwdriver under here and then turn the screwdriver like that, and it popped. It took a bit of force, but it popped straight out. So with that out, all we're really doing is rotating it. And now I need to put the spring back in this side, and then we're good to go. But before we do all that, if you look here, when this bit is in the hole, that top edge of the spring is going to catch and rub on this bit of metal, this corner bit of metal. So like this little bit, this edge here, that needs filing down a little bit, so I'm going to get the Dremel out and do that first. So all I'm really doing is using this Dremel with this like grinder attachment to it, and I'm grinding down this bit and this bit at the top. It's just so that when the spring is in, it's not touching or catching on any metal. In fact, I'm probably going to put this together now and do like a test fit. I'll probably use the vise just so I have more leverage to get that hooked back on. So So I am fighting with it a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. I think the easiest way to do it is to hook the spring in first with these like rotated, and then sort of rotate this top piece and then prise it open and drop it into position. So to attempt to do that, I've got a few different beefy flatheads to do the prizing, and I might give some pliers a go, but I'll let you know the best way once I've actually done it. And we have success. So yeah, that method was by far the easiest, to hook it in first, get the bottom end in a vise, and then just sort of use pliers to sort of get the top on. It's a shame I couldn't film myself actually doing it, but it's really not that hard. And this is on a very new spring, so the older the spring is, the easier it probably becomes. But yeah, so now you can better see what I'm on about. Spinning this way, trailing edge hits the clutch bell first, but we're putting it in the car like this, that's going to go anti-clockwise. So now the very tip of the friction material is going to hit the clutch bell first, so you should get a much snappier sort of like snappier off the line and better torque, so, and much less wear. That's the main reason I'm doing it. So yeah, hope this helps. I'll throw in a quick test ride at the end of the video, but you don't really need to see me put all this together. It's just the reverse of disassembly. So yeah, there you go. Oh yeah, and the whole shaving the metal thing, that's the reason why, because if you don't, the spring is going to like catch on the metal. So if you just shave a bit down, if you see it here, it stops it catching. So yeah, it took like a couple of minutes with the Dremel. It's not hard at all. So yeah, there you go.